Welcome, everyone, to the Generation Xbox podcast. This is episode number 281. I'm your host, Tyler, joined, as always, by Steven. How you doing?
Pretty good. It's been a good week playing FIFA.
I've been good. It's been a busy week. Finally, I settled down a little bit and got to play some games yesterday. Played some MLB The Show. I did play FIFA last weekend, and also played some Battlefield and then some of the Halo Flight test thing that they have going on. So we can talk about that as well. But yeah, lots of good stuff going on. And, I have a new setup now to play games, Steven, and it's amazing. Like, I might not be quite as bad at shooters as I thought, because some of the when I played MLB The Show and I put it in the all of a sudden, I was way too fast for everything.
Yep. Because
of the different monitor and how I'm sitting and screen size and all of that good stuff, right? And now it was a thing where it's I'm just swinging way too early, and then I went and played a game of Battlefield, and all of a sudden I was third on my team in score and all these things. So maybe this is the perfect baked-in excuse, Steven. It was all the TV the whole time.
Yeah. Sure.
you don't sound sold.
No, I mean, I definitely with you on the helping baseball out. I remember when I was struggling a couple years ago with hitting, I was looking up some tips for it because I couldn't hit on All-Star for whatever reason. And it was you play on a monitor instead of a TV. It reduces input lag, and I mean, fair, but your brain's very smart and it adjusts, and it kind of adjusts to the input lag, and you get used to it. And then so when you switch monitors with no input lag or very, very little, of course it's going to be you're gonna be messing up a lot. So
for me it was when I was playing on the TV before, it was a 65-inch TV, which I know a lot of people say don't play on something that big anyway. But
yeah, but you know what I have to say to those people?
What?
Shut up. That's what I want.
Yeah. No, when I was playing on there, when I'd face somebody that throws 100 miles an hour, especially on light, I had such a hard time catching up. And I know that it's supposed to be that way. It's, but it was it was the type of thing where you're looking at it and it's I really feel like I'm on time here, but I wasn't. And I was way behind. And it was the type of thing where you fall it off and then you're oh, I was a little bit late. And then you see that you're really late. And it just never added up. So anyway, hopefully that solves a lot of my shooter issues. We'll see. We got to get start last night though, when, of course, I carried you a bit in some Halo.
Oh, is that what happened?
Yeah. So initial impressions though, because first time, I know they've had other rounds with the flight. This is the first time either of us got to play it, and I'm very impressed with what we saw. The game visually, you pointed out first, looks great, and then I just had a lot of fun with the gameplay. I think it's going to be something that makes both hardcore players and casual players pretty happy. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I definitely enjoyed it. Like you said, the first thing I noticed was how gorgeous the game looked, which for only being a 25, 30 gig download, is impressive. Because, I mean, I think back to previous betas of other games, and Battlefield 3's beta that was really a demo comes to mind, and that game looked like shit. And I know that was, 10 years ago now at this point, but it still leaves a sour taste in your mouth, right? I still remember it to this day. No, the game looks phenomenal. And it plays really smooth, minus it crashing my Xbox one time in Big Team Battle. It froze, and then all of a sudden, the Xbox just shut off.
Yeah, you scared me a little bit. To this day, I've still never finished the Call of Duty campaign from last year.
Oh, yeah, I never even started it because of you.
Yeah,
because you said it was bricking people's consoles, so...
I kept getting to the exact same place. Inside this You know those like security checkpoint things, and there's like the little box there where the security dude sits in?
Yeah.
Yeah, like you'd go in there to do something or pick something up, and all of a sudden, like, just boom, like it shut it down, kicked you out. And it was like scary because I had this brand new console that I spent like $500 on, and I'm not a big enough fan of Call of Duty to have that be the reason it doesn't work anymore. So yeah, I still have, I'm sure it's perfectly fine and safe now. If not, it's something we probably would have heard about, but
yeah,
I'm sure it's been patched. I might have to go back and do that since, we're not getting any shooters till November, really.
I know it sucks because I'm like in the mood, and I was talking to you yesterday, right? And I was having a lot of fun playing it, but after 2 games, I was like, man, I don't think I want to play anymore because, if I'm gonna enjoy it, right? But then all of a sudden you're not gonna have it, and there's gonna be nothing to fill that void. So I'm like, well, I'd rather just stop playing now and not get like hooked, But I did have a lot of fun with the gameplay. The grappling hook was surprisingly fun, and I could see as the game gets older, it becoming like a thing where people figure out crazier and crazier things to do with it. Like I already saw a clip of a dude grapple hooking a warthog with a gravity hammer in their hand, and so they got like pulled right next to it, and then they swung the gravity hammer, and it was awesome, right? And stuff like that we're gonna see more and more as time goes on and people start exploring and playing around with the different systems in the game. But I had a big blast playing. I think the first 2 games, like I was crushing it. One of the games I had as many kills as the enemy team had total by the end of the game. And I don't know, I just revert back to the old 14-year-old Steven when it comes to Halo. You start killing people and then you immediately go to teabag them because it's funny and it's Halo, and that's just, you can't have Halo without teabagging. It's just how it is.
Is that a rule?
It is in my head.
Okay.
So, it's, I don't know. It's just, I had a blast with it, and then we got up again in the game where the other team knew what they were doing and knew the map.
Yeah, they were good.
Knew all the weapons, which I still barely know. Like there's one that shoots like red, like goo, and then it just like it sticks on you for a little while and then it blows up. And so I was like, that's kind of cool, but it's not so fun when you're dying. But yeah, no, they kicked our ass, and
I'll tell you though, like they were definitely good, and credit to them. Like it was to the point where it wasn't even frustrating anymore. It was almost like just a little bit in awe of like how good these people are this early on.
Well, there was one guy specifically on the team that was just like really amazing, and I think I'm good at Halo, and then you start you get humbled a little bit sometimes, and
so. But no, like where it crosses the line for me though is when it starts with the like spawn camping, like that. Now you're not like if you kick our ass because you're super good, like tip of the hat, man, good job. But like again, the spawn camping and spawn killing not in the spirit of the game so much, right?
Yeah, and I think part of that problem was just that map we were playing on, Tyler, was so tiny. So like. You look out the door, and you could see basically the other side of the map. So that, I think, was part of the issues.
Yeah, that's fair. But I remember that was one of the things that kind of turned me off to Gears at times, was that stuff online. So, yeah, never something you like to see. It reminds me of like sports games when we play like Chell, and you just get the glitch people that do the same thing over and over and over again, and they think they're good.
Yeah.
And it's just super frustrating because they win, so they're rewarded for it, right? So they're justified in thinking, or at least in their minds, they're justified in thinking that they're good. They're not, because the moment they run into an actual real, like, really good team, they're just going to get just run out of the building. But, yeah, it's frustrating to see that. Anyway, Halo, I'm with you. I didn't want to play too much. I wanted to, get a taste of it and play enough and hopefully have enough fun with it that I'm just really, really looking forward to December, 8th, 9th now. And I am. So, absolutely can't wait to get my hands on it.
So, it's funny, Tyler. I'm with you, by the way, 100%. Did you think while we were playing, like, why is this game so far away if it's playable in this state right now? Like,
yeah, and it has to be the campaign side, don't you think? Like,
that's what I was thinking, and I really think having Game Pass allows you, Microsoft, to be a little more... adventurous? Is that the right word here? And
unconventional. Let's call it that.
We could also call it that. Like, is there a big issue releasing the campaign and multiplayer separately? Because me personally, I do not think so. So no and yes at the same time. Let me explain that. You explain.
So no, because from what I see, unless they're tweaking other modes of multiplayer
or maps.
Yeah, or maps. So they could be, what's the one where they introduced in Halo 5, where it's like 2-on-2, right? Or 4-on-4. Yeah. Yep. They could be tweaking some things with that, or, a whole host of other things, or maps, like you said. Right? So, but the way it looks right now, in the maps that were there, and the modes that were there, this game's ready for launch today, for the most part. And it would be perfectly fine to do that because the game works. Now, here's where it's bad. The Twitter PR machine comprised mostly of like Sony superfans. And Xbox superfans do the same stuff when it's a Sony thing. They would twist and turn that into a negative.
Yeah, and do you know what I think even more played into it, Tyler?
What's up?
Is the Game Awards. I have a feeling, like the way Phil's been at the Game Awards the last few years. Obviously, they showed Xbox the Series X for the first time at the Game Awards. So I feel like they're really needing that victory, right? Because Sony and Nintendo have kicked the shit out of them when it's come to winning Game of the Years. And I think if you put them out separately, you immediately take it out of Game of the Year contention, because it's like, when would it go in there? Would it be?
I think it's out of Game of the Year contention already, to be honest.
Well, no, because it would be for next year.
Yeah, that's why. Because you're going to be up against some behemoth games next year.
Well, that's true, but
plus it's going to be a year out of everybody's, line of thinking. Like,
my thoughts to Microsoft here are: you have not won in the last 10 years or 8 years or whatever since the Xbox One came out. Anything. You've not beaten any of the other two. Anyway. Well, you haven't beaten the other two at anything, really, except for, I guess the One X was more powerful than the PS4 Pro, but again, I'll take the games over the power, especially at very minor differences.
Except at the very beginning of last gen, when the the PS4 was more powerful, but the Xbox One actually had games at the beginning, and everybody made the opposite argument. But that's beside the point. It's not step on you. I'm sorry. Just keep going. It's just some fans, depending on what console you like, will twist and make whatever they have most important, right? So
yeah, I do understand that. I'm just saying the Xbox games at the beginning of the generation weren't exactly system sellers either.
No, but they had them. So
yeah, but when I'm talking about having games, I'm talking about good games, and PlayStation delivered really well last generation. Anyways, you're not winning the battle on that front, and you're still maybe a little bit of ways from winning it going forward, and I see the path you're taking. However, some of the benefits of being third means you can be a little more adventurous and experimental, and releasing your flagship title as campaign and multiplayer separately, I don't think is the worst idea ever. And isn't the multiplayer supposed to be free anyways, Tyler?
Well, once upon a time. Yeah, once upon a time it was announced as free. It's never been something that they're never opposed to changing their story, like at some point, right?
Oh yes, they do have Aaron Greenberg and his spin, we'll call it.
Well, remember also, like, we're gonna launch every game on every system, right? Oh
yeah.
And then all of a sudden that changed, and I'm not even saying it's for a bad reason. It's just they will adjust and change the narrative on things, and the way they usually announce a change of something is they just stop talking about it.
Yep. But beside that point, I feel like you had the opportunity to be a little experimental, and I mean, we could be totally wrong though, Tyler, and their multiplayer needs a lot more work, and we just saw the front side of
it. Could, but you're 2 months. You're 2 months from launch, and nothing should need a lot of work anymore at this point.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting at. So I really think you could have done something kind of cool and adventurous here, and you could have beaten the multiplayer parts, because no one buys Call of Duty for the campaign, and no one buys Battlefield for the campaign. So you really just competing multiplayer wise, and you would have been out first, and now you're going to be out third, and this would have been better for you. Thinking is so. Like, you forward think in a lot of things, but then sometimes it's just so old school, old way of thinking that doesn't make sense, and it's just because it's the way it's always been. And I find that when hilarious I find that when the stakes are the highest, that's when everyone settles into tried and true. Not many people will take a huge gamble when there's a lot on the line. So, and despite what Phil Spencer says here, we talked about it on the show, a month ago, maybe more. Despite what Phil says here, there's a lot on the line with this game. And not maybe from a financial standpoint, like Xbox isn't done and gone if Halo Infinite isn't a success. But public perception, like, I think they bought a lot of goodwill with a lot of the things they've done. But a lot of that goodwill's on the line here. With not so much Forza, just because I don't think anybody's like, I'm going to get an Xbox to play Forza. It's a nice game to have when you already have one. And it's something that you like to brag about and enjoy and play. But it's not the reason you bought the console. Halo is for some people. And Halo is the one where if they trip, the wannabe shareholders on the Sony side are going to take to Twitter and like make a huge thing of it, right? Constantly, and it's just going to be a lot of egg on the face. Now, to your point, real quick, before we kind of move on, I'm the guy who said they should have gotten the game out, September 28th? Is that what I said? Like, this week is when they should have released Halo Infinite. Clearly the game's not ready yet. Because I think, and it's got to be on the campaign side or other maps. But we saw, it was not, the flight was not 2 maps. I played on 4. I mean, 1 big team battle map, and I think there's only 1 big team battle map you're able to play on. But I played on 3 separate maps in the social arena we played, and then a 4th in the bot match. So there's a few maps in the tech tests, or flight, or whatever the hell you want to call it.
The problem is, though, if you're going to release the multiplayer part early, you really would have to get it out here in the next couple of weeks, because you want to beat the reason to do it. I mean, obviously you want to beat Call of Duty and Battlefield, more so Call of Duty, to market if you can. I think they're making a huge mistake launching the game. Well, no, it's not a week after. I keep getting the Forza release date and Halo's mixed up. So it is a total month after, a full month after Call of Duty. So you're probably okay. But you'd want to get it out. If you want to get it out early, like, now's the time, because you don't want to get too close to that Forza Horizon 5 launch. Because the whole point of putting these games out on Game Pass is to get player engagement in the games. And because as everything transitions to live service, it's not about just getting them to play your game. It's about getting them to play your game for a long time. So you want to get people invested and bought in. And the best way to do that is to really hook them at first. And if they don't have a reason to jump into Forza because Halo's right there too, then that's just bad marketing. And they've done that before. So, yeah, I don't know. I think there's a lot of things that are going into that decision. And that's why I originally said last week of September, because it just made the most sense. It gave enough room to breathe before Forza came out. You beat the two other big shooters to market, and you get a chance to really just deliver an awesome product and win that market share and not risk losing as many people to Call of Duty or Battlefield.
Yeah.
But none of that's going to happen. So we'll see. We'll see how it plays out.
I do have a question, and it might be a little more theoretical than anything else, but still. So the rumor is Halo Infinite is going to have something like 25 maps at launch, which is awesome, and a lot of maps. Is that better than maybe something like 10 to 12 maps at launch and then steadily release more as the game goes on? Now, obviously, the ideal, I think, would be 25 maps at launch and then release more as the game goes on. But I don't know what their plan is on that front. But which one would you rather have?
So, I know there's going to be people that are like telling me to F off as I say this, but I personally think the rare model for Sea of Thieves was the right one, because people are going to be pissed off no matter what you do at first, because they want the whole thing, and if you give them the whole thing at first, then they're pissed 2 weeks, 3 weeks later because now there's nothing to do anymore.
Yeah, because games have conditioned us, especially new games, that it's a constant stream of new content all the time.
But that was back right at the edge of that. Well, I shouldn't say at the edge of that, because Destiny started that in 14? On console, anyway.
Yeah.
PC goes back earlier than that. But with the launch of Game Pass, et cetera, Sea of Thieves was one of your tentpoles there. And it didn't have it didn't have like an overwhelming amount of content at first, but it had plenty to get you going. But then they've consistently, think about this now, it's just 3.5 years post-launch, and they just launched a new season again, last week? So they're supporting that game over the long haul, and I think that's the way to do it. The problem with launching, would you say 25 maps?
Yeah.
Okay. The problem with launching 25 maps for Halo Infinite is that for Halo 7, whatever it's called, you can't do any less than 25 or everybody's going to be pissed.
23. Okay, 23 maps.
Okay, 23. But you can't do any less than 23 or everybody's going to be pissed off. Right? You gave us 23 last time. What are you doing? Yeah,
I'm going to assume...
and
5 to 8 of those are big team battle maps.
Yeah, they're not all for everything. There's got to be some that are for big team battle. There has to be some that are for I'm already forgetting the name again. Stephen, help me. But the 4-on-4
breakout.
Yeah, like some are just for that, right? So when you think about, and some are for arena and all that type of thing. So it's when you think about it that way, like 23 makes sense. Because you're going to have a handful for all the different types of things in the game.
So I agree that I'd rather have a little less maps and then more get added later, but for a different reason. And that's in shooters. Like, learning the maps is paramount to success. I mean, you can be successful without knowing the maps. I mean, I had matches where I was successful. But if you know where the power weapons are, and you know where the spawns are, and you know where both the weapon spawns, the power item spawns, and where people spawn, you can kind of position yourself. And that's like getting into the higher level like gameplay, of course. But when you go up against teams that know all that, like we played in our last game, it's frustrating because you feel like you're worse in every single facet of the game. You don't know spawns, you don't know weapon spawns, you don't know the map, you don't know where things connect, anything like that, and you just getting beat on every level, and that stops being a little fun. And when you have a little less maps, and I know people are going to get on me for saying we should have less content, but I think I'd rather have 10 to 12 at first so I can learn them. Because when you have 25, and I know not all of them are arena, but if you have 25 arena maps, like, you're not going to play, the chances of playing the same map, you know, or the one map twice are drastically low. Right, and you get to play a lot more games, and you're not playing them back to back, so it's easy to forget about them, and it's going to take a lot more games to remember than just 10 to 12. And I'm not complaining about it. I just would rather it be a little smaller and then add a few more as time goes on. And it does the twofold thing. One, gamers have been conditioned now to expect new content, and two, it also helps you learn those new maps, like, organically, rather than and you know, in a nice seamless, like, scaffolded transition, rather than 25 at launch.
I'm 100% with you, and I feel like the sweet spot for shooters, depending on the mode, is between 6 and 8, and at launch.
Yeah, and 6, 8,
and then grow it from there.
Good ones too, because that's the problem. If all 25 are good, that's good. 2 thumbs up for me. But a lot of times, some of the maps, you know, you always have those one maps you're like, ugh, I'm playing on this freaking map. And you know, I go back to Halo 3 and Halo MCC, right? When my buddies are over, sometimes we'll just, because it seems fun to go back through and play. Like free for all or whatever, and like something like the Pit, one of my favorite maps, and it still holds up, and it's beautifully designed. And oh my gosh, what was the other one? Oh my god, I can't think of the name right now. But it's, again, very well designed, and there was a lot of good maps at launch, but there also wasn't as many maps as I remember there being at launch, because they were all good though and memorable. So I was happy with them, you know. And I can say the same about the early Call of Duties too.
Well, the nice thing about shooters is that every game unfolds a little differently, right? Just because people are people and people do different things depending on who you're playing with.
Yeah.
So 8 maps, if you don't have any repeats and you sit down and do, like, on a playlist, and you don't have any repeats, like, you're not going to see a map for a second time for like an hour and a half of playing. Yep. You know, I mean, that's a pretty reasonable thing. So now if it's 4, different story. Now, people who've listened to the show for a long time know that, like, on the sports side of things, when Rory McIlroy PGA Tour released with only 8 courses, like, I had a fit.
But those are not the same.
It's not the same thing.
That's not
like
apples and oranges argument.
Because in Halo, you don't play against the map. You're playing against other people on the map. So every game's a little different. In a golf video game, you're playing against the course. Not really against the other people. You know, so it gets really mundane really quickly when you're just doing the exact same things over and over and over. So it's, and then they didn't support it beyond that. I think they only released like 2 other courses, maybe 3, something like that, over time. It was a pretty piss poor effort.
Well, yeah, you got to remember one of those courses was the Battlefield map, so that's even, like, less good.
And, well, the Tiger Woods games used to have some really fun fantasy courses, if you ever remember those. Like, yeah, some of them were just insane, like, super huge, like, differences in, like, elevation on holes, and some of them are set, like, in the rainforest or in the jungle. And then some in just weird, like, exotic places. Yeah. And they're all, like, made-up courses, right? None of them are real. So those were super fun. The Battlefield one, especially when you show it off at E3, absurd. That is not going to get your core audience to react the way you want them to. It was like they were taking their core audience for granted, which is what pisses off core audiences more than anything in the world for any game.
Yep.
Is when they feel like they're just being taken for granted. And they skipped right over the core and started trying to win over casuals, and man, that did not end well for them.
By the way, the map in question earlier I was thinking of was Guardian, which is amazing, especially in free-for-all.
Yeah. Yep. But I'm with you on the learning the maps. Like, the Call of Duty 4 was the best I ever did in, like, a multiplayer, because I had a lot of time to play for Call of Duty. And then, like, Halo 5 was the best one for Halo. But Call of Duty 4, I had a ton of time to play, so I learned all the maps. And I knew what to do and where to go, right? And how to navigate through. And what the best strategic points were for how I like to play. And it just worked. Same thing with Battlefield 4. All that type of thing. So yeah, absolutely. And it makes the game more fun when you have knowledge of like the terrain and what to do. So like it's a kind of a helpless, crappy feeling when you're on this map and you're a little outskilled anyway because you don't play enough anymore. And you don't know the map at all, so you don't even have any idea. You could be turning into, like, 4 enemies around any corner. And it just kind of sucks. So, anyway. The Halo, though, fun experience, and very much looking forward to the game coming out. Yes. Unfortunately, it's still 2 months away.
I know. Luckily, there's, like, really a shitload of games coming in the next month.
Oh, yeah. Finally, like, this is it. This is pretty much the last weekend of like, what do I want to play? And then it'll become, what do I want to play? Because there's like a lot to choose from versus nothing. So anyway, speaking of, let's jump into some news. And not so much news, but something we want to talk about. You talked about FIFA 22, your first impressions last week. You had a chance to dive in a lot more. And I know you wanted to expand on some of the stuff you were saying on last episode. So go ahead.
Yeah, so I was complaining last episode about certain gameplay things and like the way the offense felt harder but not in a good way. And then I realized as I played more of the game that it was a ID10T error. That's vernacular for idiot. It was my own error. So squad battles in Ultimate Team rely a lot on chemistry, and it does say that, but like, who reads things when they're playing video games? Like, I just want to go play FIFA, right? So I'm not really paying attention to things. So when my chemistry was low, of course guys are not making the runs I want them to make because chemistry sucks, and you know, they would not be able to kind of read the other players, right? Well, as soon as I fixed that, I, made a pretty much Premier League only squad, and now my chemistry's at like 99 or 100, which is good. And now I've been able to win games against really good teams in the squad battles, and even on like the second hardest difficulty, which is legendary, against teams that don't have good chemistry. If I'm playing teams with good chemistry, it's a tough matchup on world class, but I would just like to say that, yeah, that's the reason the gameplay fell off, was because it's all based on chemistry in that Ultimate Team. So building a good squad with great chemistry is infinitely better than having a phenomenal squad with absolute shit chemistry, because I played a team that was like an 88 overall with like 17 chemistry, and I beat them 7-0 on world class in like 4 minutes or however long the halves are. I think there's 6. And my team was like an 81 overall, so obviously chemistry really matters in that, which is kind of fun. On the one hand, I'm still with Tyler, as we talked about last week.
I was gonna say, what are your feelings on that? I know we touched on it, but
it sucks on one hand because you do want to make your like God squad, as they call them, where you put Ronaldo and Messi and Thierry Henry on one team because it's fun. Kylian Mbappe and Christian Pulisic, maybe. I don't know, if you're American, you might want him on the squad, which I do have because he plays in the Premier League and I got him in a pack. So that part sucks, but there are consumables that allow you to change positions and teams, and you could change what league the manager is from to make the chemistry go up even higher, which I guess is nice on one hand, terrible on the other hand, because means EA is making that money.
Well, let me phrase it this way, because I know why it's there. It's there to give another layer of immersion to players who just want to dive in. Because Ultimate Team is the mode that most embraces that mentality of, I just want to get so into this, right?
Yeah.
And because I've certainly been that way with MLB The Show this year, continue to be. But do you think it caters too much to the hardcores and not casuals?
That's a good question. I'm going to say No.
And by that I mean casual, like not so much players but fans. And because with me, like if I'm starting to get into soccer, I don't want to like have to think that hard about it. It's that I know these like superstar players, and it'd be super cool to have them on a team together and play.
Well,
right?
I'm totally with you on that, because honestly, getting that chemistry can be hard, because I know the Premier League really well because I watch the Premier League a lot and have for the last 8 years or 6 years or whatever, like every day or every match day. Like I watched every Arsenal game, both midweek and at the end of the week. And so I naturally know a lot of teams in the Premier League, and I know all their players. On the opposite side of the spectrum, I don't really know anything from Series A or League One or the Bundesliga, right? I know, obviously, the big teams, I know Barcelona and Real Madrid, or like Paris Saint-Germain in the French league, and then, obviously Dortmund and Bayern Munich in the German league. But I know none of the other teams, really, outside of like a few that Arsenal may have faced in the Europa or the Champions League. So it can be hard to make those squads have good chemistry for someone even like me who watches and has played FIFA for like the last 10 years straight. And I still struggle with some of that stuff because I just don't play Ultimate Team all that more, or hadn't in the past. And got into the career mode and really only play as Arsenal and, live my fantasy of winning the Premier League, which, haven't seen in my lifetime, that I've been watching them. Obviously, they were really good back in the early 2000s, but I didn't watch soccer back then. So, yeah, it does suck for the casual who wants to, like, might know all the big name players. Like, they watch the World Cup, for instance, and you see all the guys, and you're like, I want to put them all on a team, but then realize, well, the chemistry doesn't add up, and so I'm going to get my butt kicked in squad battles. I don't know for sure if chemistry plays a role in, like, the online seasons mode. I've not tested that out yet, so it could.
I would almost guarantee it does, because I think it does in NHL.
I would assume it does as well. So, if for the casual fan that likes soccer and maybe just wants to play FIFA, I highly recommend avoiding Ultimate Team at all costs. It'll save you money, first of all, and just going in and playing a career mode, like be a pro or just pick a team in whatever league you're interested in watching, whether it be the Premier League or the MLS if you're an American, or League One or Bundesliga, whatever it be. And that's a really good way to learn players. And you can still kind of buy some players from around the world. I think I did get Kylian Mbappe a couple years ago in FIFA before he became super expensive. But it's going to cost you your entire transfer budget. Depending on what team you pick, but you can still kind of do it, and it can be fun. But yeah, I don't necessarily recommend Ultimate Team. So,
yeah, with NHL, the chemistry is a really big deal as well. And I'm not even going to compare it to MLB The Show, because that doesn't have chemistry. Because baseball's that weird game that's like a team game, but a very individual game all at the same time. But Madden does it in a way that I think works really well, in that it rewards you for having good chemistry, but doesn't punish you if you don't. If that makes sense. So, if you're a huge fan of the Cincinnati Bengals, and you get some Bengals players, past and present, on your squad, and you get enough of them, it's going to reward you by giving everybody attribute boosts.
Oh, I totally forgot Madden had that. I remember them implementing it. I just didn't care because I was just going to put the best overall players.
And also, really good feature in Madden Ultimate Team is that when you go into the computer, please set my lineup for me mode, you can choose in there to have them focus in on a certain thing. A division strength or a certain team chemistry thing or whatever. So if I just want Bengals or Titans, like I can say focus in on Titans guys, and it's going to make the best lineup for Titans chemistry.
Oh, that's another thing, by the way, that FIFA Ultimate Team sucks at, is the squad builder. You can set it to just have like Premier League guys in, but then it puts lone players in. I don't want lone players in my squad. I personally hate the lone player system. I know it's real like soccer thing. Obviously Martin Odegaard was a lone player for 6 months, and then we ended up purchasing him from Real Madrid this season. So real thing, and it's fine in career mode, but in Ultimate Team, you get him for like 3 matches, and I'm like, why do I want to put and get used to playing with like a guy like Son from Tottenham for 3 matches, and then all of a sudden have to adjust to having an 81 left midfielder, you know? So I'd rather just put Christian Pulisic there and get good with him for the extra matches. So stop putting those players in my squad, and there's no like toggle switch to not have loan players. And you know, the even worse part is when their loan is up, they still like get put in your lineup. You can't play them because they don't have any contracts or the loan games left. So it's even dumber. So I'm like, that is so frustrating.
Yeah, NHL does the same thing, and I know what they're doing because like NHL will put players they'll give you like, you know, here's a guide to try out this new set that we're unveiling Tuesday, and you know, here, try a guy for 5 games or 10 games or whatever, and then you can't have him anymore. But if you want to go buy packs, you could get him maybe. And I after playing MLB The Show Diamond Dynasty, I have a little bit different take on EA's Ultimate Team model in that, like, I really loathe how everything's designed to get you to spend money.
Yeah, no, the packs are garbage compared to Diamond Dynasty because you can't even get the sun in packs easily. Like, at least with Madden, you're like, okay, I want the Legend. So I go buy the Legend pack. And I know the game's been out for 1 day, technically, from the actual, like, worldwide launch, not buying the special edition. But yeah, it's like, so the packs actually weren't super expensive. I think I bought $20 worth of stubs or whatever the hell they call it. By the way, I also much prefer that about MLB The Show, where you buy stubs, and stubs is the only currency. There's not 2 separate currencies between like purchased and earning, which I think is good. And it's just everything about Diamond Dynasty.
Well, and EA's
Ultimate Team model.
Well, yeah, EA Ultimate. So here's the thing: in Diamond Dynasty, I want to dive into Ultimate Team just as a business model, and whether it's player friendly or not, and all that here in the next couple of weeks. But real briefly, I love an MLB The Show that if I want a specific guy, like right now, I really want to get 2 cards: the Christian Yelich 99 and the Cody Bellinger 99. That's going to set me back about 800,000 stubs. At the end of the day. Now, if I want to go buy 800,000 stubs, I can do that. That's going to cost me, what, $500 even? About that? I'm not going to do that. But if I wanted to, I could, and then just go buy those 2 guys. So I know that I'm investing that money, but getting exactly what I was hoping I would get. Whereas in EA's Ultimate Team mode, I go buy packs and then hope I pull what I want. Or I have to enter this game now where I sell everything I get that I didn't want and hope that I have enough coins or whatever, pucks or whatever it is, to go buy what I do want.
Yeah.
And that, I just like the direct line. And it'll be The Show a lot more. And not just in terms of like how you spend stubs or coins or whatever, but when you do specific programs to earn a specific player, you know what you're going to get. You know, it's not a like maybe. So, yeah, I'm a big fan of that model after really diving in this year. Anyway, let's hear from our sponsors, Steve, without whom this show would not be possible. And let's start with BetOnline. BetOnline's back, and better than ever, all eyes are on the gridiron as teams are back on the field for another season of NFL football. And as always, BetOnline is your number one spot for all the pro and college football action this season. With the new updated site and interface, even more odds, props, and contests, BetOnline continues to be the number one source for everything football. Head to the website or use your mobile device today to sign up and receive your 50% welcome bonus on your very first deposit. Don't forget to use our promo code, CLNS50, to receive that 50% sign-on bonus. Again, CLNS50 to receive that bonus from football, basketball, boxing, right to your favorite Vegas casino games. Don't forget the NHL starts in like 2 weeks. BetOnline is the best place to take advantage of all the amazing offers available to start for the 2021 season. It's the fastest and easiest way to bet all your favorite sports. BetOnline.ag, where the game starts. Your online sportsbook experts. Steven.
Yeah, hopefully nothing is interfering with your happiness or preventing you from achieving your goals, but life likes to kick people at times, and sometimes it likes to kick you when you're down. But luckily, there are people out there.
As Cartman would say, Steven, squat in the roots.
Exactly. Luckily, there are people out there that can listen to your problems and be that third party, that independent third party to help you get better. And that's what BetterHelp is here for. And they'll assess your needs and match you with your own licensed professional therapist. You can connect in a safe and private online environment, super convenient, and start communicating under 48 hours. Yeah, you can send a message to your counselor anytime. You'll get timely and thoughtful responses. Plus, you can schedule weekly video or phone sessions. The video sessions are my personal favorite. I just like that face-to-face virtual interaction. But I know people that liked using the phones instead, and it works for them. So whatever works best for you. You never have to sit in an uncomfortable waiting room. Like I said, you can do it straight from the privacy of your own house. You don't have to go sit in traffic, sit in an elevator, sit in the waiting room. None of that uncomfortableness, nothing like that. All from the comfort of your own home. And there's expertise for whatever issues you have. All right, there's licensed professional counselors specializing in depression, stress, anxiety, relationships, sleeping, trauma, anger, family conflicts, LGBTQ matters, grief, self-esteem, and many more. Everything you share is confidential. It's convenient, professional, and affordable. I want you to start living a happier life today. As a listener, you'll get 10% off your first month by visiting our sponsor at betterhelp.com/GenXbox. Join over 1 million people who have taken charge of their mental health. Again, that's BetterHelp, HELP.com/GenXbox.
All right, thank you, Steven. And as I said, the NHL season is just a couple weeks away, and that means that NHL 22 is right around the corner. There was a full 27-minute video this week featuring gameplay, where they also did like a Q&A of some of the biggest questions posed by the community. There's like a full video that's an hour, or full audio that's an hour and a half long on Spotify for the entire Q&A. But the 27-minute video had the highlights of it, and there were some pretty good things discussed in there. But if you're like us and you like the NHL games, it's, things that people kind of key in on every year as things that they either really like or really want to see change to make the game more enjoyable. So, Steven, what stood out to you the most? Because I know we were talking off air about a few things that kind of resonated with us from that video.
Yeah, so there was a lot, but probably the biggest thing was, and I didn't realize it last year because we didn't play it that much in the last few years for whatever reason, but they got rid of...
We did play a lot last year, though.
Oh, you're right.
Like, we put in a good...
We did last year, but the previous year. So I didn't realize they got rid of, like, the little reflexive actions, like, your players do, because they were talking about how some players want NHL to be everything based off of a button press. And I get it at times. Like, I get it from when you first think about it, but then if you put any sort of thought into it after that, it quickly falls apart because there are so many like bodily movements you can do in hockey. And how is all of that going to be able to be controlled on a controller that only has 8 buttons and 2 thumb sticks, right? And then a directional pad. It's just not feasible. So certain things like you jumping in front of a pass, right? Let's say the other team is cycling the puck going defense to defense around like near the blue line, and you happen to like time it perfectly and you read their minds and you like get in the way, and you should pick that puck up without needing to press anything, in my opinion, because the right bumper is poke check. And I've done the right bumper before, and it doesn't pick the puck up. It just pokes the puck forward a little bit. I want my player to intercept that puck, and there was no button for that. But it also wouldn't do it. So that really was annoying and frustrating because you play good defense and you time it perfectly, and you don't pick the puck up, and now it's like a 5-on-4 and you're out of position for something that should have been a breakaway. So them fixing that and bringing that back like probably makes me the most happy. And it was one of the first things I picked up on listening to that whole gameplay Q&A thing. Tyler,
yeah,
I know we talked about the reflexes, but you had like a different thing that you were really happy they're bringing back. So what are you looking forward to?
Well, yeah, so passing, and there's two things actually I want to hone in on because I know the other thing you're talking about, so I'll get to that. But in passing, like, it was way too easy. So whether a pass is a really difficult pass or a really easy pass, all you had to do was like press the right trigger. Except for you, Steven, because you're just like broken.
Oh, okay.
So, you pass the right trigger, and whether it's just a pass where it's in the direction of your momentum on your forehand, tape to tape, or you're like spinning and moving passing against momentum and doing your backhand between the legs or some shit, it's equally accurate. Kind of like Madden used to be, where you could be sprinting towards the sideline and throw across your body across the entire field and hit a guy in stride wide open. And then that got changed and people had a meltdown, and this is getting changed and tweaked a little bit every year. And I think it's really good, and people do get pissed because you can't just like do cross crease passes all day long that don't make any sense. When it's like totally against the direction you're moving, and a spin around backhand pass that isn't totally accurate. Like, people get pissed off at that, but that's real. Like, I don't want simulation reality. I think we saw too close to that with like some of the PJ 2K stuff. Now that the game wasn't fun, it was just, I think it hurt the replayability like in one sitting. Whereas with Tiger Woods, I used to be able to play that game for like 6 hours straight. This one, not so much. And you don't want too realistic in Chell, but I don't want it to be ludicrous either. And I don't want to be sitting there and being like, the puck just literally went through his shin on the way to someone. Yeah. Right?
The auto sauce is
so talking about. The auto sauce, yep. I don't want that. So that's going away. The other thing I really like is that you're going to see some differentiation in player builds again in the world of Chell modes, in particular EA Sports Hockey League.
So, Tyler, yeah, I'm pretty new to the player building. Mm-hmm. I jumped in, what was it, 2016 I played a lot with you guys. That's when I started. Or into
NHL 17, yeah.
So, there wasn't that at the time. So what sort of things make for a successful build in ESHL? Because for someone like me, like that just kind of likes to sit down and play, especially now that I'm like working regularly, right? And a lot of hours. I don't necessarily want to waste some of my time fiddling with, like, I don't do any of the customization crap hardly, because I just want to jump in and play. And so having some archetypes seems more beneficial for me, where I don't want to be going through a trial and error situation, if you understand what I'm saying.
So, well, first of all, it's like, what type of player do you want to be? So for me, here's the thing. Not everybody, but 90+% of players in Chell jump to this, I want to be super fast, deke everywhere, and be a sniper. Like, all those things at once. And they want to be super fast, right? Those players are a dime a dozen. And back when, in like the NHL 13, 12, 14 days, those players just got wrecked when they got into upper division play. Unless they just had immense amounts of skill. Because they weren't built right. They were built to maximize speed, shot power, and that's about it. And I always built my player around the things that most players didn't have, because that makes you incredibly valuable when people see what you can do, right? So I had high offensive and defensive awareness, because defensive awareness is gonna play into things like intercepting those passes that we just talked about. It's going to make your stick work better. Defensively, you're going to take less penalties and all that type of stuff. Offensive awareness is going to help you get the puck on your stick for a rebound, things like that. You're going to become more of an opportune player. And that's going to help a lot, because most goals get scored are mucky goals, with the exception of games that just turn into total glitch fest.
Yeah.
So those things are really helpful. Also, acceleration is just as important as speed.
If not a little more.
You can't just see, if not more. Balance and strength are equally important, because if without those two things, you can be as fast as hell, but if somebody touches you, you're done.
Actually, I did want to stop you right there, because they talked about in that 25 minutes incidental contact being a thing that players in the past have complained about, and it's something they've been kind of working on. And I get where the complaints come from, because in the past games, I remember I'd be skating and you'd be barely touched. It's not a big hit. It's they have no momentum and they barely touch you, and all of a sudden it acts like it was Sean, what was his name, hitting Paul Correa in the center ice in 2003. Scott Stevens. Yeah, it acts like Scott Stevens out there.
Clean hit.
Yeah, okay, well, sure it was. Anyways, so do you think that's going to, by limiting some of that incidental contact, do you think they're going to go too far where people that don't have the good balance and strength now seem to be able to be Teflon out there, and no matter what you do to them, they're not going to get... Because someone without balance, incidental contact, no matter how little momentum, you should be bumped off the puck. If you decide to put 0 points into balance and strength, you should be able to be... If you're touched at all, you should not have the puck anymore, in my opinion. Otherwise, what's the point of those two stats? So I'm hoping that they don't... By pausing some of that incidental contact or the effects of it, it doesn't ruin the character building.
Well, two things on that. What they're fighting against there is basically legal interference, which is what everybody would do in the game, including me, including you, including everyone. And it's that if you're coasting and not actively hitting the checking button, the right thumbstick up, to hit and run into somebody, you're not going to take a penalty for that. So that's what people would do to stop a play. You just get in the way, basically obstruct the lane, and essentially set a pick, because you're not throwing a check, so it's not going to call interference. And that's, I think, what they're trying to combat here, because it was... the higher up you get in divisions, the cheaper fucking people play. Man, they do. Because they care just most about winning, no matter how they get there. So, and the temptation gets higher too, because you get in these intense games and you want to slow somebody down, so you go and do it. And I was first one to say I've done it.
Yeah.
So they're trying to combat that. As with anything in a sports game, usually the correction goes too far and then has to come back a little bit. So I'm sure we'll notice something at launch. But the other thing I would say, Steven, we played with someone once who thought that because they were a power forward, they should be invincible.
I do remember that.
So they would pick the power forward class, and then anytime they get bumped off the puck, literally they'd be screaming, "I'm an effing power forward," into the mic. It was so much fun every day. And that's not the way hockey works. It's a game of balance and leverage. There's a reason Jared Spurgeon at 5'8" is able to be a good to, at times, elite defenseman in the National Hockey League. He's like 5'8", 175 pounds. And he's able to do that because he uses leverage and positioning really well. So it's not, if you put a little bit, I don't even think so you need a lot of differentiation in like balance and strength. I think if you can get to where you're like 5 points higher in it than most other players, it's going to be a noticeable difference for you.
Yeah.
That would be my guess. Now, I don't know. But they do say, they went out of their way to say that the gaps in skill, like if you are looking at someone with, 90 speed versus 83 speed, the gap between that 90 and 83 is going to be significantly larger in offline play than it will be in World of
And I
Chell.
think that's a good balance because...
I do too. There should be a difference, though.
Yeah, when I play online, I want parity to be pretty much perfect. At least as far as getting onto the ice. Like the characters or the players are all balanced pretty. I know then you run into that cookie cutter stuff, but I don't want it to be a case where like one player is really good and then one player sucks. And that's just also, and then you put player skill on top of that, and now the gulf between the two, or the cavern, or the canyon between the two is ginormous, like the Grand Canyon size. But on offline, I do want that. I want Connor McDavid to be the best player in hockey, and I want fourth line guy on the Ducks to feel like a fourth line player in the NHL. And Connor McDavid should be able to skate all over them if you happen to have the matchup, because it makes it feel a little more rewarding, and it makes it feel special when you're able to trade for Connor McDavid, or sign a Connor McDavid type player, or draft even more.
Like that. Yep.
So I'm fully okay with those being two separate, almost games, or at least balance patches.
Almost like two separent realities. Where I'm with you.
Madden kind of had it this year. When I was, because I went and played a lot of franchise this time around, and there was a toggle option, not difficulty but the style of play, like because you can play it arcadey, but there's more of a simulation where guys get hurt more, and skill level matters and the parity is not there, whereas competitive play, it's a little less noticeable. Guys, when you have DeAndre Hopkins going up against the third string cornerback of the Jags, right, because it should be more player skill when you're playing online rather than just picking a 90 overall team versus like a 72 because your favorite team's a 72 in Madden.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to see what this game's going to look like when it fully releases.
What I would say to the devs of NHL 22 and the NHL series in general is this, that please stop viewing, and maybe you don't view it this way, but sometimes it seems like you do. Stop viewing the entire EA Sports Hockey League community as ultra competitive. Because we're not all that. We're, we like to win, Steve, no doubt about it. And it's much more fun when we do. However, we like to get on after work, play a few games, and have a good time, and all that. Like, we don't have aspirations in playing in the Chell World Championships next April, So I feel like sometimes they get caught in this thing of where they frustrate 95% of the player base to appease the 5% who are ultra competitive, and they're streamers and they're content creators and all that stuff, right? So and don't get me wrong, I know it's tough. There's a lot of pressure on them because those people give a lot of free marketing and publicity to the game and get a lot of visibility to it. So you want to keep them happy, but don't do it at the expense of everyone else. That's all I ask. Like, when the competitive community says to you they want everything to be the result of a button press, what they're really saying to you is that they want their dominance to be more magnified than it is right now. Yeah.
And I think we run into that issue in any competitive game. We hear the same thing. Like, it's balancing the casual, which is the majority of the players. Like, put 90% of the player base, and that's being probably too low, as casual players of the game. Like they might play, ranked of whatever, right? Ranked Halo, ranked Call of Duty, but they're casual in the sense that they're not competing for those top prizes of like real money, right? In those tournaments. Whereas competitive players would beat most any casual player, even the best casual players. They'd probably beat them because it's just a different sort of play. And I just don't think you should balance the game entirely around one section or the other. You need to find the perfect balance, whether it means one mode is super hardcore competitive and that's the mode that the competitive players go to, and then the rest is like more balanced for casual. I think that's probably the best like way to oh my gosh, I can't think of the word right now. To tune it, right? But
and that's why the divisions model is the best thing they have for EA Sports Hockey League, because it's essentially designed to get everyone into a place where you're going to be basically a 500 team. You're going to win half, lose half, but have a lot of competition and play a lot of teams that are very similar to you. And then some teams will continue to grow through that and get better and better and better and move up.
I think skill-based matchmaking should be a thing in every competitive game. Do you remember when Call of Duty, like the players like flipped out and they were like, "Now I'm going to go up against sweaty people all the time." I just realized and kind of wonder is how much of that is the case that people just don't want to realize they actually suck at the game. And like now when you're dominating, it's because you're playing against people that are a little under your level, and you're pretty low down.
Hey, not to pile on, but the same guy who said, I'm from power forward, he's the one who always wanted to reset the team.
Oh yeah, so we could win like 9-0.
Every time it got tough, every time we got to that part where it was like win half, lose half, usually around Division 3, Division 2, maybe Division 1
when
sometimes.
We were good,
He'd always want to reset the team so we could go and quote destroy worlds, because that was more fun. It's more fun to beat up these poor people like 9-0, and have them never want to play the game again. I'm bored because it's not even a challenge.
I know,
but there are people like that are like, oh, this is so much fun, I'm so good. No, you're not. You're beating up on people that don't know how to play the game as well as you, so you're ruining their experience. And by the way, mine and everyone else on your team, because we're not getting the competition that we want. And we're actually getting worse because now we're getting rewarded for doing stupid shit that would get us killed normally.
Yep.
Right? So, anyway, real quick, there is a new program in MLB The Show, the Run It Back program. Just if you're still playing MLB The Show, go check it out. There's a Jared Kelenic card, 99 overall, at the end of that. But a lot of other really good stuff along the way, including a 99 overall Don Mattingly card. That's awesome. Like, so as of today, I think I had like 12 hits with him, and I think 8 of them were home runs.
Nice.
It's pretty insane. And that was through like 3 games. So, yeah. Super good card. Anyway, lots of other good stuff there too. So check that out if you're still playing, and 7th inning program is still on our way. 2 more weeks to go in that. All right. So what weekend stores?
So October 5th, you can get Exophobia, Hell Let Loose, Super Monkey Ball, Banana Mania, Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl, Alan Wake Remastered. So 5 games all on October 5th, and that Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl looks pretty fun. Super Smash Bros. Basically on all 3 major consoles. Seems like a good time. And then obviously Alan Wake Remastered is huge. And then on the 7th, you can get Far Cry 6 and Back 4 Blood. I assume that's the super special edition, because I think the game actually releases on the 11th. And since NHL 22 comes out on October 12th, you should be able to get the EA trial starting probably on Tuesday. So look for it October 5th.
Yeah, it's coming this week. Yep.
For the trial. So yeah, a lot of...
I can't wait, Steven. We're going to play EA SHL this week.
It's insane.
Like, this is the most excited we're going to sound about that all
Well, I
year.
mean, if all these changes they were talking about, like, actually work, I'm pretty excited to give this a go. So
I can't wait till we get to the point where I'm like, Steven, you want to play Chell? And on the other end, I'm like, I hear.
Oh.
Yeah. Anyway. All right. But yeah, we'll play that this week, and we'll let you know our first thoughts of it on episode number 282. And by the way, everybody, that'll do it for episode 281. We're going to get out of here and enjoy the rest of the weekend. You guys do the same. Have a great week, everybody. Play some great games. Stay safe.
Bye.
We'll talk to you soon.